parents and teens, welcome to this Study Gurus video. My name's Claire and today I'm going to talk about a really important topic. I'm going to talk about why your teen, or maybe it's you if you're the teen, isn't studying correctly. I'm going to talk about why even if you or your teen is putting in the study time, you're still not getting the results that you want. Okay, I say a lot of things about studying and I could babble on about it for hours, but what I'm about to say is one of the most important parts of studying, full stop, particularly when it comes to exam study. Okay, here it is. Your teen has to rehearse what it is they're going to be tested on or examined on in the test or exam. Okay, let's pause and just take a moment to think about this. What I'm saying is, when they're studying, they have to rehearse the skills that the exam or test is going to test them on in the exam. Let me put it this way. Your teen might write study notes as part of their exam study, and hopefully they do. Writing study notes is a really important part of studying generally. But is the exam question going to say, please, over the next couple of pages, regurgitate and recite the first 2 pages of your study notes? Obviously not. What the exam is going to do is ask your teen to apply the knowledge that they have acquired over the year. So for instance, if it's an English essay, they might be asked to discuss the character development of the protagonist in the novel that they've read. So during their exam study, your teen is going to have to write practice essays that address the types of questions the exam is going to throw at them. It's not going to be enough just to have read the novel that they've studied, or the film, or whatever it is that they have studied. If it's a science subject, the exam question isn't going to be nice and say, please list everything that you know about photosynthesis. The exam is going to require your teen to possess certain skills. Those skills are going to involve things like being able to discuss the topics that they have learnt, compare them with other topics. And the reason for this is it's only when the exam asks your teen these types of questions, discuss, compare, contrast, describe, can they really get a full understanding of the extent of your teen's knowledge. Because if they have just read some words on a page, watched a couple of videos without really applying what they've learned in class, they're not going to possess the deeper understanding that's required to get good exam grades. A student who gets consistently good grades, whether it be at high school or college or university, approaches their study in a way that means they are rehearsing the same types of skills they're going to need to show the examiner that they have in the exam. So once again, for exams that require them to write essays, their exam study will have involved writing essays based on hypothetical or past exam questions similar to the ones they're going to get asked in the exam. And this is the same for any subject: science, history, drama, media studies, a language. It really doesn't matter what it is. The absolute key to studying effectively for exams is to make sure that you're rehearsing the skills that the exam is going to require you to have. Okay, I think I've harped on about that point enough. Let's just unpick a little bit more what this really effective exam study process looks like. I'm going to paint a picture of what my and other students who get really good grades exam process looks like at a really high level. The way that I see it, there are 4 main stages of good exam study. Number 1, read it. When you first approach your exam study, you need to take the information that you need to know for your exam in. You might do this by reading over your class notes, watching educational videos, and reading over helpful resources like textbooks. Basically, you need to start the process of absorbing the information that you need to know for your exam. Number 2, you need to process that information. So this is where the really substantive part of your exam study comes into play. It's not enough that you've just read that fact or read over that paragraph or watched that video. You need to process that information. You need to take it on board and start to really actually understand what that information means. Number 3, you need to come to terms with that information. I guess this is a follow-on from step number 2. But what I'm saying is that once you've processed the information that you need to know, you need to really start to own it and understand it like you understand your 2 times table and the alphabet. You need to understand it in a way that you can discuss it, that your classmate can ask you a question and you can converse about that topic without thinking, ugh, oh yeah, I remember hearing about something to do with that in class. I remember the teacher. That's not going to fly, because the exam is going to expect you, if you want a really good mark, to really understand the topic. And in the exam, you have time pressure, which of course means that you don't have time to spend minutes racking your brain for information that you don't actually understand that well. So your exam process needs to involve study techniques like writing study notes, writing practice essays, making diagrams, making comparisons, doing all of those things that form part of your exam study so that you can come to really fully understand a topic. Let me just add in a quick caveat here. I'm not saying that you need to understand a topic to the fullest extent possible, as good as an academic who studies that topic for a living. No. You need to understand the topic to the extent that is appropriate for a high school student of your age. Because another mistake that teens often make is that they go off on rabbit warrens of study and they go into all this detail and they spend hours and hours learning all of these things that they probably don't need to know for the exam. So what I'm saying is that you need to focus on the main topics that you know are going to come up in the exam and know those really well, like with your eyes shut. Okay, the number 4 part of your overall exam study process is retain it. So once you've absorbed the information, played around with it, drawn lots of diagrams, written lots of study notes, written those practice essays, once you've done all of that, you need to retain all of that information. If you've done a thorough job of steps 1, 2, and 3, retaining it will kind of happen naturally. So that's really good news. Okay, let's sum up here. So many teens are putting in a lot of work and not getting the grades that they're capable of. And this is so not your fault, because one of the hugest frustrations that I have is that teens aren't taught how to study at school. That's where we like to think we come in. So to avoid this awful situation where you are putting in the study time but you're not getting the results that you deserve, you need to make sure that during the course of your exam study, you are, say it with me, rehearsing the skills that you will need to show the examiner that you have in the exam. Okay, that is the takeaway point of this video. Your study process needs to be the practice for what you do in the exam. It's a rehearsal. So whatever it is that you're going to get tested on in the exam, make sure that's what you're doing as your exam study. And the second thing that I've said in this video is that, as I see it, there are 4 main stages to the overall exam study process. If what I've talked about in this video today resonates with you and sounds like your teen, there's someone who's been putting in the study hours but hasn't been getting the results they deserve, then I really hope that this will be the aha moment that they need so they can understand that how they've been going wrong and what they need to put into practice to get the results that they are capable of. If you have any specific questions or comments about this video or anything to do with your teen and their study, then please get in touch. I always love to help out where I can one-on-one. All you need to do is get in touch with us via the website www.thestudygurus.com or send me an email, which is claire@thestudygurus.com. That's CLARE@thestudygurus.com. I'd love to hear from you and help your teen find their way towards the exam grades that they're capable of. I'll see you in the next video.